Assalamualaikum et bonjour. Bonjour à tous. Today, in this clip, we are going to look at how we're going to use the expression faire de. Okay? Now, before we look at the expression faire de and how to use it, let's look at the two main verbs which are very useful when we want to describe what kind of activity that we do, what kind of games or sports that we play, and what kind of instrument, musical instrument that we play. Okay, the first one is, you have here, faire. Faire. What does it mean? Faire here means to do. The second one here is jouer. Jouer. What does it mean? It means to play. Now, before we want to describe what kind of activity that we do, what kind of sports or games that we play, and what kind of musical instruments that we play, we have to look at these expressions first. Okay? Now, let's look at these three. You have here faire de. Now, faire de means, faire here means what? To do. Okay? Now, next you have jouer à. Jouer means to play. And next you have jouer de. Okay? So again, I repeat, these three expressions are very important when you want to describe what kind of activity that you do. Second, what kind of games or sports that you play. And the third one is what kind of musical instruments that you play. Okay, now, let's look at this. All right. You have faire de, the first one. Now, faire de, the expression faire de is normally used when you want to describe activities or sports. Means that what kind of activity that you do. When you are doing activity, you use the expression faire de. Okay? Alright? That will be the first one. Now, when you want to tell people what kind of games or sports that you play, you use jouer à. Okay? Okay, for example, what kind of games or sports? Play hockey, so you use this expression jouer à. Play football, you use jouer à. Okay? But remember, when you want to say you play football or play badminton, you can still use faire de, because faire de, the first one here, can be used when you want to describe activities and sports. But when you use jouer à, it's only for games and sports. It's only when you want to describe that you play what kind of game and what kind of sports. Okay? Alright, now, the third one. The third expression, jouer de, it's used only when you want to tell people that what kind of musical instrument that you play. You play piano, you play guitar, you say jouer de. Okay? Alright. So again, I repeat, the first expression here, you have faire de. It is used when you want to describe your activities and sports. Okay? Jouer à is only used when you want to tell people that what kind of games and sports that you play. And jouer de is only for musical instrument, when you play guitar or play piano. Okay, now let's move to the next slide. Now again, I repeat, faire here means to do. And jouer here means play. Okay? Alright, now, I repeat the conjugaison. Faire. Je fais, tu fais, il, elle fait, nous faisons, vous faites, ils, elles font. Okay, let me repeat that again. Je fais. No, before that. All right. Faire. Je fais. Tu fais. Il, elle fait. Nous faisons. Vous faites. Ils, elles font. It means what? Faire here? To do. Now, jouer. I repeat the conjugaison. Jouer. Je joue. Tu joues. Il, elle joue. Nous jouons. Vous jouez. Il, elle joue. Jouer here means to play. Alright? I repeat jouer again. Jouer. Je joue. Tu joues. Il, elle joue. Nous jouons. Vous jouez. Il, elle joue. Now, let's move to this. Now, earlier I mentioned in this clip, we are going to look at only one expression. Okay? Now, we have seen three, but this clip is only for the first expression, which is faire de. How to use faire de? Okay? Again, faire de is used for activities and sports. Whenever you want to describe what kind of activity that you do or what kind of sports that you do or you play, you use expression faire de. Okay? Alright. Now, how do we use faire de? Let's move to this part. Now, this is something that you need to remember. Sort of a rule, okay? Now, de here is an expression which is with faire de. Now, you have here de. When it meets le, now, what is this? The second column here is what we call article. Right. It is called article défini. Alright? Definite article. Okay? Now, you have here four. Okay? You have le, la, L apostrophe and les. Okay? Why do you have four? Because some of it is used for, well, masculine singular noun, feminine singular noun, masculine plural noun, and feminine plural noun. Okay? Right. When the preposition de, this is a preposition actually, yeah, the can be translated into so many ways. The can be from, can be at, can be so many. But here, we are looking at expression faire de. When you have de meets with le, it becomes do. Okay? Now, when de meets la, it doesn't change at all. It stays the same. When de meets L apostrophe, it becomes, well, it doesn't change at all. It stays the same. But when de meets le here, it becomes de. So if you can see, right, de plus le, it becomes do. And de plus le, it becomes de. The other two stay the same. Okay, please remember this. Okay, again, I repeat. All right. When you have de meets le, it becomes do. And when de meets le, it becomes de. The other two stays the same. Now, let's move to the next part. Okay, let's look at the first one. When de meets le, it becomes do. Okay, now, expression faire de. We want to say Julien Julien play football. This is football. this is a bicycle, this is ski, and this is tennis. Now, before that, the noun, it's le foot. Le foot means football. And bicycle here, it is actually le vélo. And ski is le ski. And tennis is le tennis. Now, if you can see, all this noun is with le. The definite article, le. Can you see that? And this is for noun which is in masculine singular form. Okay, now, so remember, when de meets le, it becomes do. That's why here, Julien fait du foot. Okay, you see? Du foot. It's not de le foot. It has to be Julien fait du foot. Okay? Alright? Now, when Julien cycles, so Julien fait du vélo. And when Julien goes skiing, it is Julien fait du ski and not Julien fait de le ski. Alright? Because de meets le, it becomes do. And the last one, when Julien plays tennis, it is not Julien fait de le tennis. It has to be Julien fait du tennis. Okay? Alright? Can you see this? Okay, now, again, I'm going to repeat these four examples. You have the first one, Julien fait du foot. Julien fait du foot. Foot here is football. Julien fait du vélo. Vélo is bicycle. It comes from the word velodrome. Okay, if you know, velodrome is associated with bicycle. Okay. Now you have the third one, Julien fait du ski. Okay, Julien skiing. Go for ski. And last one, Julien fait du tennis. Julien plays tennis. Okay. Now, let's move to the second one. Again, I mentioned, when de meets la, it stays the same. It doesn't change at all. Can you see this? Now, expression, faire de. Here we use, on fait souvent. Souvent here is always. On here is we. We always do, what do we do? De la randonnée. Okay, go for hiking. Okay, so on fait souvent de la randonnée. So, de la stays the same. Okay, randonnée is one of the activities. Yeah, it's an outdoor activities. It's hiking. Now, let's move to the third one. Third activity here, you have faire de. Again, when de meets L apostrophe, it doesn't change. It stays the same. So here you have Robert fait de l'équitation. Robert fait de l'équitation. As you can see here, it stays the same. It doesn't change at all. Now, what is l'équitation? It is equestrian. Okay? Okay? It has something to do with horses. Okay? Activity with horses. Now, right. Now, let's move to the next one, which is the last one. Now you have faire de, again describing an activity. Now, well, sports. So when de meets les, it becomes des. And here automatically you can look at the noun. The noun here it's for plural. And here sports is masculine. So you want to say Mario play sports. What? All sports. Okay, many sports. What? Can be football, rugby, badminton, tennis. So you have here Mario fait des sports. So you use here des. So you cannot say Mario fait de les sports. It has to be, well, it has to be Mario fait des sports. Okay? Alright? Well, I hope you understand pretty much what I've explained here. If you don't understand, you can ask questions. Okay? Simply ask question. Be able to help you, I hope. Well, inshallah. Anyway, if you don't ask, we won't know. Okay? Right. Bon courage. Merci beaucoup. Hope you are able to use the expression faire de when describing an activity or describing what kind of sport that you do. Merci beaucoup.